My name is Felix Otieno, and I am a millennial in the move. So I'm a cinematographer by profession. I shoot films, documentaries, and so I started a company called Pax African Films, but later on I changed it to Pax African Network because I realized they can do more than film. So I started doing publicity management for content creators and also managing their digital platforms. So apart from just filming, I also manage for brands and corporations that need their contents and that need to be managed on digital platforms. Like you normally find that most people, they usually don't have time to go every day online or to create content for themselves or to script whatever they're supposed to be scripting. So I figure that this is actually a place where you can mine money as a millennial actually. So I felt like this is an opportunity for me. I can increase, apart from just filming, always or trying to outsource the normal way, going for filming the normal way. I felt like I can be doing this for people. So I spearhead most of the digital platform for some organizations, like let's say for Universal Lumen Kenya, just to mention but one. There's also Unplugged. There's also the AU IBA, which is the African Union Bureau of Agriculture in Kenya, just to mention but a few. But so I try to make my clients work easier so that they tend to focus on how they can get money, and I tend to focus on how they can market themselves. So I try to also make their work easier by making the things that they are trying to put out there to go viral, and that's mostly what I do. So a typical day for me is actually me first of all waking up, coffee. Coffee is key. Like I really love coffee. After coffee, then I check on my schedule. I see if maybe I have a meeting, if I have a shoot, if I have something that I was supposed to finish up. It also depends with the day. I'm not really a gym person, but I tend to do morning runs on Saturdays or Sunday. So it depends also if that week I've spent that week at home. If that week I'm not at home because I travel also a lot, there's no morning runs. But yeah, so after coffee, I normally have check out the schedule, make some few phone calls here and there, check on whatever I was doing the previous day. If whatever I was doing the previous day needs a little bit of tuning, I also tune it. Go to meetings. Come have breakfast maybe at 10 again. I meet a lot of people who I've never thought that I will meet, but my job, actually mostly on the filming part, has made me to meet a lot of people who I used to look up to. Some of them I used to consider them mentors, but right now I meet them, I talk to them like it's just normal. And sometimes I may take this for granted, but when I always sit down and try to look back and try to retrace my steps back and see how far I've come and how far I'm supposed to go, I always end up appreciating meeting such people and having these small conversations with them. Some of them I even end up working for them, or some of them I even end up advising them on whatever they're doing, and which is something that I used to look up to them. So it's actually big for me. So that is the best part of my job, is meeting new people. The one person that I've always wanted to meet when I was starting off back in the day when I used to shoot weddings in high school and all that I've always wanted to meet was Ignacio. Ignacio is a content creator and a cinematographer, a professional cinematographer actually. He's a Hollywood filmmaker but based in Kenya. He's actually the one who introduced me to the platform, both in filming and digital marketing and content creating. This guy is actually a person who I used to aspire and want to be like, because he has made everything he has from scratch. He also used to look up to people, and today he's doing his own thing and he doesn't care, and he's making it major. And he also started young. He also started while also in school. I mean, his stories really inspire me a lot, and this guy is really a great person. So yeah. When I was growing up, I'm a kid from Eldoret. Let's start from there. Eldoret is a place where people tend to think that hatujui kitu, like we don't know much. We're not digitalized or anything. So kids from there, me while I was growing up, I grew up in a small estate called Kapsoya. Kapsoya is a really small neighborhood, full of refugees, Sudanese, and like you could walk in the neighborhood and you see yourself, you're the only Kenyan for the whole line. So it used to be like crazy. I was one not to stay in the house. I used to like go out, swim. We used to call it Dudufumpara, a small stream called River Susiani. I used to Skype classes just to go and swim. I remember those good old times. And so yeah, I think I was really a mess as a kid when I was growing up. I wanted to really join the army, the Air Force actually, and fly choppers to war. You're growing up watching these old movies, the Chuck Norris ones, and missing in action type of things. Actually, that's one of the reasons why I was even more interested in filming, because I was like, hey, how do people make things like this? Was that actually a real war? So I was like, I have to become an Air Force officer so that I can fly choppers and all. But then later on, as time went by in high school, I started doing photography, creating posters for people, then shooting weddings. Later on, I ventured into film. I started doing short films. Eventually today I'm here, I'm shooting documentaries, films, creating content for people and managing their digital platforms. I never imagined it would be this way, because it never started this way. It's not how I really envisioned it. It's completely different. My parents' reactions to what I do, they have never understood it. They have never. My mom just, even if right now my mom were to call, she'd be like, umaliza kupiga picha, or umaliza kuongea na mtu unaongea naye. She doesn't know, but what she knows is I'm always just around cameras, or I'm around celebrities. That's what she thinks. She's really supportive. She's very supportive. I remember when I was starting out, I used to not have, like, let's say, transport, wherever. She used to be like the one providing for such things. She also has also been encouraging me to try and venture and create my own stuff. She's actually an inspiration behind Pax African Network, because she's the one who really made me have the idea of having my own thing, having my own team, having my own people so that to do things and be my own boss. So my mom is really supportive, and though she doesn't really understand exactly what it is, she just knows it brings money and food on the table for me. So she's really okay with it. As long as one day, maybe she'll understand, probably one day, I'll maybe invite her to whatever what I'm doing and maybe sit her down, but I don't think she'll like it anyway. She'll just yawn. She will yawn. One of my highlights is how I made my first $500,000. I'll tell you more about this right after the break. See you then. So welcome back. And like I told you earlier, my biggest highlight was how I made $500,000. So it turns out there's this one time I was applying for a certain gig. You know how we typical videographers, we tend to like have our reels and all that, and you're always like looking out for gigs. Mistakenly, I was somewhere, I was shooting something for someone. And this guy, actually, he didn't know me. He didn't actually know that I was the one supposed to be shooting something for him. So I was there, and he was a client of an agent. So me, I got the gig through an agent. So it was a small gig. That was a very small gig, but I shot it. And after shooting it, the gig was an emergency gig for him. The guy, the person who was supposed to shoot it, turned him down the last minute. So this guy, while he was reviewing the footage on the monitor with the director, he later told me he later approached the director and asked, who is this guy, and I would really want him to finish the project. That the guy who was supposed to be here shooting is not here today to shoot it. And so I don't want to work with the guy who disappointed me for the 10-minute thing. I want this guy who showed up at the last minute to finish the project. So I ended up finishing the project. I had no idea how much I was supposed to be paid. I ended up receiving like 480 minus tax. on immediate after like a week, I got the money. I was like, what's the money for? What's the money for? What's the money for? You know, like you're asking yourself, what did you do? Then you end up learning that it's because I showed up last minute, fully ready, and because I did a good job, and this guy loved that idea. And we still work with the guy today. When he comes to Kenya, he always like calls me, and we even like have to, because I saved him, because whatever money he was supposed to pay back if that project hadn't happened was a lot than the $500,000 that I got. So I really saved him big time, and that's how I got my first $500,000. Getting such a thing made me feel like I really need to push more for such things. That's why I went more, starting up Pax Africa Network. I ended up aiming more at corporations and NGOs because it made me have a taste of what I can really achieve if I push film to the limit. Not just always looking at the typical way that, let's say, other people or other people like who are in the same field as me, I tend to push. So it doesn't matter if I get a gig today or if I don't get it tomorrow or if I don't get today, but one thing I do know is that as long as I push, I will end up testing like what I tested and more of it, and that is actually what actually inspires me to do more, because I felt like I can really get more of that type of cash. My other highlights in my career is getting a chance to join Kenya Film School by chance. And I was supposed to pay school fees, but I had not even finished a month. Netflix gave me a full scholarship. So when I got a full scholarship from Netflix, and then, you know, like I was supposed to pay fees for it, for the whole program, which was actually a 1-year program. I ended up getting the scholarship from Netflix. I applied. We were 8 students who got that scholarship. Countrywide, we were like 48 who got it. East Africa, I think we were like, I took out of 100. We were not reaching 100 people who got. So it was it was a one-shot kind of thing. And while I was creating the monologue, while I was signing those papers, I didn't even think that I was going to get it. That's why I was not even planning to apply for it, actually. I was in class, and one of the staff came in, who was actually supervising the application for the Netflix scholarship, came to me and told me, Felix, why are you not applying for this thing? I was like, you know, it's just like a typical thing. People will apply and they will not get. Plus, how many are we who are applying? I bet hundreds. And he was like, just apply. Come on, just apply it. I was like, okay, sure, why not? I applied it. And then when the names of the people who got the scholarship came, I was among the people who got the scholarship. And mind you, the scholarship also had a stipend. So every end month, we were getting a certain amount just to be in school. Good Lord. I never thought that would happen. So I ended up not paying school fees. I ended up getting a scholarship. I ended up joining one of the best film schools. Actually, it is the best film school in Kenya. I'm not campaigning for it or anything, but it is the best. So I met actually most of the jobs that I get today, be it for digital marketing or digital publicity management or filming, I get because I was in Kenya Film School, and they introduced me to a lot of people there who, like, today they come back to me and they ask me to do this for them. The networking that I was given there is actually the thing that I started off with. So joining Kenya Film School, getting that scholarship, that is another big highlight for me. What sets me aside from, I think, typical people my age and typical people in the same industry as me, I think it's the fact that I'm a monster. I tend to be very aggressive. I believe I'm supposed to be humble in reflection, but when it comes to opportunities, I do not take them by choice. It's a must. I have to make it or make it. Those are the only options. My mantra for every day, that I tell myself every day, is that I will not wallow, but I will always seek. I will not, just because I was beat down yesterday or today, just because I lost today, I will not make myself a victim. I will always seek an answer. I will always seek retribution, because I believe that every single day that I always try to find an answer, every single day that I always try to go out there and find a solution for it, for whatever I'm supposed to be victimizing myself about, there's no need for that. So I will not wallow, I will always seek. That's my mantra every single day. Every single day is a learning curve. It's a learning process for any person who's doing it. I mean, you come to the cinematography side. Any cinematographer out there you meet, if anybody tells you they're the best, it's a lie. There's somebody who's better, and there's somebody who's so better than that person. Because every single day there's different techniques, different equipment, different everything. Even come back into digital marketing. I'm not the best there is out there. There's still a lot I learn every single day. I attend classes, but what I do to make myself always be wanted by clients, let's put it that way, is I always try to find a solution to their problems and always try to add value. I always try to make my client happy and to make myself stand out and always want to always be the best. And as much as I hope being the best is actually being a millionaire in what I'm doing, or it depends actually with the success that I want, I think also, because success for people is very different. Success for me is actually seeing whatever I have kindled to become a blazing fire. So keeping me at bay and always sharpening myself, I always tend to always have mentors, always believe that, that everything I do is possible. Anything I want, I can get it. It just depends with the drive that I put myself into. And so I know for a fact that I have to always keep myself sharp and ready. I'm always ready. Let me tell you, if you be naive in whatever you're doing, it doesn't matter if it's this industry or whatever you're doing out there. As a millennial or as any other person who's doing something, if you let people take advantage of you, if you let people use your skills and make sure and put you down, and don't let you live up to what you're supposed to be, that is the biggest failure that one can have. And trust you me, I've gone through that. I've been used before. I've been made to feel like I cannot accomplish anything, and listening to people is the worst thing, because some of these people, they know your potential, and that's why they want you there, and they will enslave you, and they'll enslave what you have. And trust you me, you will never go anywhere. It doesn't matter how small you start, it doesn't matter how small of a step you've taken, but trust you me, that's a big thing. If you don't know how to see success in that, then that's another failure. So you always have to be ahead of yourself. Yeah. In the next 5 years or 10 years, I know for a fact that Pax African Network, a company that I started last year, and the previous year it was just a dream, it already has a step. Right now, it is earning income in 2 or 3 ways, you see. In the next 10 years, it will be something huge. I mean, I've already put the foundation in it. So how big it will be in the next 5-10 years? In the next 5 years, it's supposed to be building a house for my mom. It's supposed to be doing this and that. It's supposed to be having, let's say, 10, 20 employees in the next 10 years. That's how big I want to see Pax African Network. That's how big, let's say, quote unquote, dreams. For me, that's success. Success is seeing whatever foundation that I made is already having a roof on top of its head. For me, that's the next 10 years.